Hello everyone, I'm Renu Bhatia. I'm an HR professional and today I'm here to narrate my story. And I really thank Twilight Talks that has given me the forum to bring in my story, and my only hope is that in case it is able to inspire even one woman, then I would have really lived my purpose. It's been a very wonderful journey for me as far as I see. It has seen its ups and downs, but I am really proud of the women and other people that I've met on the way who have really helped me to become what I am today. I started out like how people are aspiring to achieve good positions in life in terms of having a good professional journey. And as soon as I completed my graduation, I was very clear that I wanted to join the armed forces, which was an inspiration from the place that I stayed in, which is Dehradun, surrounded by mostly army officers. It was an obvious choice for all the youngsters there. So I prepared really hard for it and got myself I was selected in the first for the naval services, and then of course for the army. I got commissioned into the army in 1998, and I joined the Army Service Corps, which is the logistics branch of the armed forces. And while I was very clear that I wanted to really do very well in the profession, life had its own plans playing out parallelly, which is I met my husband then after 6 months of just getting commissioned. And while I chalked out my journey in the armed forces, I also got married very early. So there was a journey happening professionally. There was a journey happening personally. I was blessed with my son in the year 2000, and the second child followed, my lovely daughter, in 2003, and the family got completed. So while I was chalking out this journey, I was also leading a very professionally satisfying life in the armed forces. I was getting nominated. I was doing very well in all the armed forces courses that I was doing. And I also got nominated for the United Nations missions for a year. I was sent abroad by the armed forces to a place called Asmara, beautiful Italian colony, erstwhile Italian colony, which was nestled somewhere in Africa, a country close to Ethiopia. And so that was an exposure to an international environment, having worked in an international environment. And I came back absolutely confident about my own skills, and wanted to then chalk out a journey in the corporate world, because my tenure in the armed forces was going to come to an end. I was on a tenured position. I was on a tenured position of about 10 years with the armed forces, and my last posting was Jalandhar, and that's where I was posted. Most of just to bring to everybody's notice that they think armed forces to be a tough life for the women, but then that's not how it was. I had got posted with my spouse almost in all the stations, and Jalandhar is also where I got posted along with my husband, and that's. I came back, happily came back and started leading a family life, and the kids were there, husband was there. There was, of course, a very taxing tenure at Jalandhar that I was having, and I think that was a turning point in terms of from a very blissful and a happy family life, I suddenly started seeing certain cracks. We tried to figure it out, but the professional life was keeping me a little busy, I would say, and then by the time I could focus back on the family lives, the cracks had developed into something major that we had to deal with shortly. And then that's how my armed forces career finished, and I then took up a career in the corporate world as a HR head of a hospital based out of Amritsar. And as I was already seeing some kind of a development in the personal life, and as I would say, it just luck didn't support me enough, and my husband then got nominated for a tenure abroad, just like how I had been nominated for the United Nations tenure. My husband was next, and he was sent out. Instead of I having I should have actually utilized this time to, we should have actually as a couple utilized this time to build on to whatever we were left with. But then we, by sheer chance, this just went away in a different direction and he went away. So I was left to, with, two kids to take care of. I continued to work there, but they were very obvious situation to deal with. So when he came back, we got posted to Delhi, and my organization was kind enough, they transferred me back with him, and here we were dealing with our own challenges, the work challenges and the professional challenges. And then a tough field posting for my husband came to Leh, and I continued to stay. I mean, I chose my career over the personal life, because on the face of it, it appeared to be a calm and a quiet situation, which of course I was to discover was not to be. And there was again a very strong development, and then I had to just suddenly leave everything on the professional front. And given the point that I had been very, very aspiring, I had been absolutely very professionally focused, and I had to make a tough choice of just leaving everything and joining my husband there in Delhi. And that's the first time in like the last couple of years that I had, I was not pursuing a career. I was just a stay-at-home, a satisfied homemaker. And but for some reason, I mean, I would just say that after having even tried, the things didn't work out, and I was just thrown into a situation where I had to make a choice, leave behind everything, and start my journey fresh on the career front, because that was the only thing left. So the children continued to be, because from a very comfortable environment they were. My son had already now by then joined a boarding school. My daughter continued to stay. And my husband then, of course, was also on his way, wanting to move away from the armed forces and start his journey with the outside world. So he, kind of requested for a posting to his hometown. And that's when the family also took a decision of letting me pursue what I wanted to do, and while they continued to stay there in Chandigarh. And that's again, I would say, I then continued my career with the hospital sector that I have been for all these years. And after that, a very strong development of losing my daughter came in. I suddenly lost her in a very shocking way in 2018. And then, of course, when a person is already coping up with a certain situation of getting used to staying alone, working alone, not having the family around, then you have to deal with the biggest shock. I would say there can't be a bigger pain. And then what I went through at that point in time, but then the choice was either to, and reconciliation, of course. I mean, I would, before the audience judges me, I would say that despite, the family trying and I trying very, very strongly, the reconciliation wasn't an option. That is what my husband wasn't still agreeing to. So I continued to lead a professional life. And then came COVID. In 2019, the COVID hits us, and suddenly when you're staying in a situation without your family and having nobody around, you suddenly start questioning your choices. You start suddenly questioning your circumstances and situations, and say whether you actually have a purpose in life left anymore. And that's when I think that, a big support in terms of having a forum like Shefali's forum the Women with Wings came along. She would organize webinars very frequently. I think that online webinars was a thing in those times, and I started attending them because first I was absolutely bereft of any kind of a company around me, and I was questioning myself, feeling, having thoughts like as to, is there something left in life still? Because there was pain, there was lack of companionship, there was generally a lack of purpose and a void. But those webinars, I would say, were a big eye-opener. I suddenly got exposed to a world beyond my life. I got exposed to the fact that there is something still left, and I started enjoying those webinars. I was interacting with people. I was enjoying what I had left behind. I had always been a good student. I would clear my papers. I would be a topper in most of the examinations that I would attend. And then I kind of went on a rediscovery mode. I suddenly realized that I might have faced very tough situations. I might have faced the ups and downs and of the extreme kinds. Some I would say out of bad choices, some out of certain just compulsions. But having dealt with it all, I think I suddenly, out of these webinars, I discovered my purpose. I said I still can look forward to a lot in life. I suddenly realized that I really enjoy this entire environment of studying, this entire environment of learning something new, this environment of imbibing something and looking forward. So I suddenly found myself a purpose. I said, I might not be left with a lot, but I have to start enjoying. And then, of course, I discovered, I would really highlight the point that I discovered happiness. I thought that there's still happiness left in terms of you can really enjoy despite, there would be a time I would feel guilty when I would feel happy because I had been through situations. We had lost a child. I would see my sibling and then feel bad for just everybody around. But then I thought one could still feel happy without having any guilt attached to it. I still would feel peaceful. I could still feel happiness in whatever was left around me. And then I went on a different journey altogether. I quickly enrolled for a course for an HR professional from a very prestigious institution like Accelerate, I think, which was again a turning point now for the better. Life was coming back on track. I pursued this course. Not only did I feel more self-confident, because by and by with these bad situations you start losing confidence in your own capabilities, just because of certain decisions that in life have gone wrong. You start questioning your own capability to make right decisions anymore. But this course gave me a lot of confidence, and I would like to also praise the audience that I was, to my own surprise, I suddenly found myself topping this course again. I was figuring in my as the third or fourth student on the merit list in a batch of about 200 size, and I was suddenly being looked upon by my batchmates until date. Every time they have a startup they have some startup situation or they have a HR situation field where they are always calling me up and wanting my advice. So it has given me a lot of self-confidence. My credibility has come back. I have realized that I still, they might be just a part of you. I think then we can divide our life into like two halves. One might not have gone bad, but one is still, I think that this turning point gave me a focus that I need to focus in the direction that I keep needing to looking. I have a son. I have to look after him. I have my parents. In whatever little way we can, draw happiness out of them. At some point in time, I was, feeling this lack of family. Then I, of course, this big realization hit. I still have my family where I grew up. So every festival, I head out to my hometown, Dehradun. I'm still surrounded by people, my loved ones. I'm still surrounded by people who care for me. So it just kind of gave me a better focus. It gave me a direction, and it gave me a complete sense of purpose. So now I look forward in all of this, I would say, if I was to take my journey in a totality, I would say that there'll be ups, there'll be downs, there'll be highs. You would enjoy some of them would really challenge you and test your resilience. But the only learning that I would want to share with everybody here is that please enjoy whatever you have in hand. Please be grateful. Gratefulness is something that I have now learned. So every time I start my day, every week, I I am thankful for whatever I have in my life, and it's quite. I since the time I've started getting this thought, this bit is getting better. There's always an addition. When the professional assignments have been from a bit I started to, it is a very prestigious assignment that I am holding currently. So if you kind of are grateful for whatever you in hand, it as they say in Hindi, barkat hoti rehti hai. So I think I'm in a situation today where I'm quite peaceful now. The restlessness that I had because of the situation at home has now gone, and I have accepted certain things that have happened in my life as a destiny that has, made me come to terms with it in certain ways. And I'm now looking after things around me in a better way. I am peaceful. I am focusing in the right direction, and I think I would like to spend rest of my life, first of all, kind of enriching myself in whatever way I can, learning more and more new things every day. And secondly, of course, helping each and every person who comes my way for any help. In terms of whatever I can help, I would like to extend a hand of help every time, and of course, give back to society, myself, in whatever way I can. So that's, I think, the story. I think my story would rather than anything else would be a matter of a story of survival, a story of resilience. And I was very clear that I wanted to make it through all the situations that I was with. I would, give a lot of credit to my parents for bringing me up like that, and giving us that kind of a upbringing and a grooming that we need to hold ourselves up tight and kind of have our resilience in place all the time we face a difficult situation. But that's how it is. I mean, all credit to the loved ones around me, and all the people that I've met up on the journey like this. Big thank you to the Women with Wings forum, and a forum like Twilight Talks, where I can bring up my story and give a ray of hope to all the people concerned in whatever way I can. Because at the end of it, I mean, of course, there's a personal cause. I wish my daughter had realized at this time that life was still beautiful, life was still worth living, I would still have it. But if this story of mine was going to inspire anyone in any bit, I would, of course, like to do that. And in case my story in any way was going to give a ray of hope for people to live on, even in the worst of situations, I think I would have paid back to people and given back to people, because at some point in time, a lot of people have helped in the ray of hopelessness, in a situation where you felt that you had nobody. There have been people, I mean, I can name quite a bit of them, including the people that after my professional journey had ended, people after seeing my situation wanted me to get back to a job, help me get a job. Simple steps like that. Or people like Shepali, who unknowingly organize webinars and suddenly show us a ray of light and a hope and give us a sense of purpose. To every woman who has dealt with me with words of kindness, and there would be times you would not be in the best of moods, but people have been kind, they've understood your situation. So I think it's time for us to look back and give back to people in terms of they have been nice. So expressing a sense of gratitude to just about everybody who's helped me in the journey so far. That's the journey so far. Yeah, thank you very much. And in case anybody would like to connect with me separately, of course, it would be a pleasure. Thank you so much.